Yo, what up guys? We're back inside the Porsche. So, I drilled a hole over here. What a nightmare getting in here. Oh, I can't really see it too well. So I drilled a hole over here, started feeding the harness through there, because this is one he bought from, oh gee whiz, it's from, he is, it's gonna be one of those really horrible videos where everything's like shaky and shit. Sorry. Right here we go. PSI. So these are usually made for like swap kits that are going in something that's a lot bigger. So it really sucks about not doing a custom engine harness on this. So now I'm gonna go in over here and I'm hoping everything will kind of line up a little bit better. But fuel rail, or fuel line is completely done. That's all done. So now I got most of the steam vent tube done. I started mocking up the radiator hose connections for the water pump. Heater hose is ran over here, but I'm going to move it back along this side on the passenger side because I do not want the heater core lines running next to the fuel line. This is the fuel line. I'd rather have as less heat around this thing as possible since we're running a returnless system, so I don't want to heat soak the fuel. So we're going to go in over here and pray to God that that's going to be a little bit nicer. It's probably all he's going to get. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the cleanest wiring setup, but that's what you get when you get a pre-made harness. It's hard to move stuff around and make it look nice. So that's what we're going with there. I'm hoping we can do a test fire today. God, I say too much. That's too much. Being that I still have to buy, I gotta get a starter. Doesn't have NOx sensors. Just want to do a test fire because we don't know the health of this motor, even though it's been rebuilt. We found a bunch of stuff down in the valves from when this motor caught fire. It came out of a burnt Trailblazer SS, so we're not 100% sure. The guy said he rebuilt it, but finding all the stuff down in the intake valves leads us to not be so confident in his rebuilding skills. So I will bring you back once I get the harness ran in, and then I'll bring you around to the front and show you everything I've done up there. So
I have no idea where I am. I have done a horrible job at sectioning these videos together, or actually filming this. It's been quite a bit of work. This is where I'm at though. So right now I'm getting ready to run the signal wire from the starter. I still have to button this up. It's got to be tucked in. The exhaust is almost completed. We ended up having to run pie cuts for everything here. So pie cut that, pie cut this. I'm hoping, usually you don't want the sensor sitting up on an angle like this because you can run into issues with water getting inside the sensor. I'm hoping this won't be an issue. We're gonna find out later on. If this becomes an issue, it's gonna have to be moved up here or possibly up farther here. If you have an issue running it right here, you might, I don't know the way the exhaust stream is in there. So we'll see. I'm hoping that should be okay. So we'll find out. The mufflers are tucked up in there. The only thing I have to do now, they're only supported right now by just the V-bang clamps in the header. So I have to run bracing from these up. Now, from what I've found so far, nobody's running flex sections in here. I don't really think the motor's gonna move. These mounts are flat. I don't really think the motor's gonna move too much. So we're just gonna run, what do I got? Rubber hangers, something like this. The normal rubber hangers, I'm just gonna cut these and make them probably 3 long. So just gonna give some support. And then I just twisted the bracket up, twisted a piece of 1-inch flat stock, twisted it. So this one's set to go over here. Gonna kind of something like that, and it's gonna be welded against the chassis, and then that's gonna hook it to there. I'm hoping that should be okay. So there's gonna be that one. I don't know if you guys can see that well. I'm gonna do something under here crazy. I might go into the back. The back's got 1, 2, or I might weld here and here. So we'll see. I still have to hook up the oil cooler lines. I have to remake this mount because I do not like how tight this is. I might try bending this and see if I like it then to give it a little bit more slack, but I doubt it. So I'll have to make a new ground strap. It runs. I will get that on video. I don't know if I have gotten that on video yet. So I gotta do that. I also gotta run a signal wire to the alternator. It's gotta be a switch 12 volts. other than that, well, yeah, also, I guess, oh, you guys haven't, I got all the cooling lines done. So the entire cooling system's done. I'll take video of that. This is the heater core lines. I'm not too fond of doing hose clamps and everything. I was thinking about doing those pinch clamps, make it a little bit cleaner looking, but this is what we got for now. And those run up. So then I got to tuck up the rest of the wiring, everything like that. Still got to put some pieces down there, but we weren't 100% sure how healthy the motor was, so that was the main concern to get that thing going. So there's some more heater core hoses, or not heater core hoses, yeah, radiator lines. So I'll get some more of this done, and then I'll get some video of the dash and everything like that, because we ended up running an AIM dash. So this is what we got right now. So, oh shoot, dang it! Oh, just remove the steering wheel if it's in your way. This customer, we didn't. Oh, I'm gonna throw you guys down here. Sorry. All right, this customer, did not want to make the factory gauges work. This guy is super anal and very redundant. Like, he had, this car comes stock with a factory oil pressure gauge, all that stuff. He had a bunch of aftermarket stuff because he doesn't trust it. So he's like, why am I gonna bother making the stock gauge cluster work if I don't like it? Makes sense. So I put an AIM dash in it. And these are right and left turn signals, and that one down there is check engine light. And then I added switches down here. He also has a CAE shifter. This is for override for the fans. So it's going to override fans. This is oil pump. So this thing has an external oil cooler, which I've shown you, I think, previously in the video. So this is what runs that, and then this is going to be for the power steering pump. Since we are not using a GM power steering pump for this car, we are going to be running a MR2 electronic power steering pump. Now those are actually varied. From what I understand is that the stock MR2 varies the voltage to the pump depending on speed, so you get your the correct wheel feel, I guess you'd say, the heaviness of the wheel. So we're just gonna have it, he's just gonna turn it on like at idle, cruising around town, and then when he goes racing or whatever like that, just turns it off. Because really, technically, this car is fairly easy to drive without power steering, being all the weight's in the back. So down here I took all the stock wires off. Oh, you guys can't even see that. I took all the stock wires off. I left them on there because I don't know if we're gonna run into issues with, if there's any like an ABS issue, I still have to scan the car. And I didn't run it, I never tested it. I was gonna run, because you need to run CAN high and low from the stock GM ECU up to the AIM dash so it can read RPM and things of that nature. So right now you just plug into this. Is gonna be a factory one up in there, so it's gonna look factory. So he's gonna be able to plug into that, and then he's gonna be able to read the ECU. I was gonna keep the CAN high too as well from the stock car, but being that there had been two different ECUs on the same communication line, I didn't know if that was going to cause an issue, so I just cut that out and it's just the GM one. If we have issues that we need later on in the future to hook into the factory stuff, then might run a separate plug for it, but for now this is fine. He's not really too worried about it, because the only thing that's on this thing now is just ABS, and he said if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, he doesn't care. So not a big deal. Now this is a mess. Being that he bought a pre-made harness, I had to tuck all the extra wiring in there. And what really sucks about AIM dash, which I kind of dislike, these are AIM dash wiring right here. Now the sensor wiring, they're just connectors. How should I say this? They're all pre-made pieces. You can't just cut, lengthen the wires that you need and shorten them. They're all these pre-made sections. So he bought some, they weren't long enough, so we ordered some other ones. Now they're too long, so the extra stuff I had to end up just wrapping up in a ball or in a coil and tucking in there. The stock wiring is tucked up in there for the ECU. I didn't cut none of that out because I didn't know if we were going to need any more of it. I ended up using quite a few of the stock wiring as pass-through wires for CAN high, CAN low. And then also I ran one for the check engine light. There's a brake switch the ECU wants to see. Also, what else did I run? Oh, the fan. Did I say the fan wiring?
fan wiring. Since the fan relay, the activator, or the, the relay wiring back for the fan high, I just teed into that versus how he had it. He just freaking pushed some wires up into the relays. So I did that. So it's not the greatest looking thing. This thing is actually, took me quite a while to figure out. So there's a relay back here that turns on, that adds power up to the front relay box. Or I don't know how Porsche designed this, but it took me quite a long time to figure out how all this works. I had to do a bunch of like reverse engineering type stuff. So that, unfortunately, I'm sorry, it's a mess. I know, I understand, but it's tucked underneath it. You won't see it, so not a big deal. I could cut all that up, clean it all up, but the guy said he doesn't care. So tucked it underneath there. That is the PSI fuse box. So that's for all the GM stuff that it controls. And then the GM ECU is tucked up there in the corner. I couldn't really find a good spot to put that thing. I was thinking about putting it down here, but then I had to remove all these wires, and this is another factory Porsche relay box. I could have removed all that stuff, but he kind of wanted the car back ASAP, so I just left all that stuff. I could have re-engineered everything and done everything a little bit more cleanly, but it's kind of something he wasn't too concerned with and didn't really want to pay for it, so we didn't worry about that. So I tucked the ECU back up in there. It's not really held down by much, it's just by this main cable going over it. I'm going to tuck some more foam around it. I'm pretty sure it'll be okay. It's not ideal to have it just tucked in there, but I don't think it's really going to go anywhere, so I'm not really too concerned about it. I'll probably get bashed on it, but yeah, whatever. So yeah, there's that. I'm going to put the rest of the interior in. That is the cover. He wanted to cut that out because I guess a lot of people cut it out. Really, if I was to do another swap, it doesn't really save a whole lot. I guess it made it a little bit easier plugging into some stuff, but there's enough room around the engine to get in there. So I would, if I were to do the swap again, I wouldn't cut that out. I could understand maybe if you're doing it like on the ground in your garage, it makes it a little bit easier, but for what you're doing, I don't really see the whole purpose of cutting that out. So, oh, next, all this. I think I did go over some of this, how it's all done. I'll be honest with you, it's still hit and miss when I record. I don't really know where I'm at. So, this is the next issue I'm running into, is getting this. I'm pretty sure this is gonna have to be moved over to here. We have a cast 90 and flanges, so I can weld it and put it over here. And then I'm gonna decide how I'm gonna run this. I'm not 100% sure. I was thinking of maybe getting some pipe. See, I don't know. I was thinking about maybe getting some 4-inch pipe, squishing it down, ovaling it, and moving the air filter over here, and then having it come over here, but then you gotta do a 180. So I'm not 100% sure on how I'm gonna design this intake setup yet, because I want to keep as much heat in the engine bay. So I might end up doing like a wrap, something to keep the heat from the headers from getting sucked up. So that's that. This is the exhaust, bunch of pies. So there's that one coming off the header. Goes down to this, goes into a resonator. I think I showed you guys. There's ugly welding. I guess a lot of people like it. I mean, I got a long ways to go to critique my dipping dimes abilities, stacking dimes. Some are getting there, some aren't. Takes a lot of practice. So mufflers are up in there. Still gotta run tie downs for those. I buttoned up the wiring. All this is done, so that's all buttoned up. Everything underneath the car is buttoned up. Sway bar, all that stuff's done. Little small cross member. The only thing that's left to do underneath now is the oil cooler lines. So one side I have to cut and shorten a little bit. The other side's ready to go on. And like here's the other side. And down comes off. They're almost symmetrical, except for the headers are not symmetrical. One was mocked up in a little different area, so one side's off a little bit. I still have to make a new ground, I think. I'm not sure if I'm 100% comfortable with that yet. I don't know if I'm happy with that, so that's about where we're at. So wish me luck. I got to put this interior back together. He pulled it apart. And this is actually a really good buddy of mine. but he's a customer, so he wanted to be part of this. He's not very mechanically inclined, so he just wanted to kind of dive into this thing, and I was like, all right, go ahead. I'm like, give you the boring task of ripping out the interior. What was I? Oh, I was engine swapping an engine that day out of one Volkswagen to another. I had to flip-flop engines and transmissions. I was able to get both engine swaps done in about the time it took him to get the interior out. So, you know, what can you say? So yeah, pretty excited about this thing. Just brought it around the building and it feels pretty good. Although I'm sitting on the floor, it's kind of hard to like really position yourself and feel comfortable, but it feels really good. So we're hoping that possibly, well, you guys won't know, you guys will see it on the same video, but today's Monday. Hoping by this Saturday I'll have the power steering done, pump and all that stuff mocked up in. I'll get video of all that. We're hoping that this Saturday we can just go test drive it all day and make sure everything's good, because he might be taking this on a trip to Michigan. I think it's gonna be close to a 700-mile trip, round trip. So that's what we're hoping for. I mean, I trust it, but we just want to make sure there's gonna be nothing crazy, some stupid thing that we may have overlooked. So, all right, I will bring you back when I have all the other stuff done.